Come along with me to this used bookstore in my area that sells video games. I walked in here not expecting to find anything crazy, and wow, was I surprised. So let's go ahead and head in there and see what I found. So the first thing we have to do is make our way into Nichols Used Books, which is a local store here that is awesome, and I love to see this place keep growing and finding more awesome stuff here. So the first thing I did was walk towards the back, which is where they keep all their video games, and I wandered around for a little bit and I looked through their PS3 section to start off with, and they had a bunch of PS3 games here, which was awesome to see. I ended up finding this Guitar Hero game, but I ended up leaving this one behind for someone else to get that deal. I already have that game and I recently picked it up, so I'm not too worried about it there. Then I checked out the PS2 games for a little bit and didn't find anything there, so I made my way down to the PS4 section, which again, I looked through for quite a while, and honestly, they had a really good section here. The first thing that I ended up grabbing was actually something that kind of blew my mind that they even had, and we'll talk about that in a minute, but let's go ahead and go through the Xbox 360 section as well as the Xbox One section, and then down below that was a few Wii games here, and then that is when I went back and I ended up grabbing The Last of Us for the PS4 completely sealed, and they only wanted $10 for this thing, which was absolutely awesome, so I ended up grabbing that. Finding sealed games nowadays is kind of hard. Then I found this Knuckles bobblehead, and then recently they put this plush place here, which was pretty cool. I found this little Pokemon here. While I was looking, I looked around for a little bit more, and that is when I found this huge Mario plush. Now, I didn't need this. It's a little too big and I don't really have room for it, but it's cool to find video game stuff in the plushie section. So, of course, I had to walk around and make my way to the other side where I dug through and kind of was looking for stuff to see if there was anything I had to grab. And that is when I ended up spotting this Pokeball holding Pikachu. I think this was like a Christmas ornament or something he was holding, but I didn't need that, so I made my way to the front where I ended up finding some stuff that was really actually pretty awesome. First off was this Mad World for the Wii, then a few Switch games there, a few DS games that we'll definitely have to talk about that I picked up, as well as a few other games here in this case, and honestly, there was a lot more games in this glass case than I was expecting, which is totally awesome because I ended up getting quite a bit of games. We'll talk about everything because I spent a lot of money, but I was definitely glad to support this local business and find some good games that I actually don't have in my collection, which is kind of surprising. So let's talk about everything. Starting off with The Last of Us Remastered for the PS4. This is completely sealed, and for $10, I figured I'd grab it. That's currently how much it's worth right now, but for $10, having a sealed PS4 game, I thought was definitely well worth it. I think I'm just going to keep it sealed because I already obviously have the game both on the PS4 and I'm pretty sure I have it on the PS5 as well. So finding this is totally awesome. But then going to that glass case was absolutely crazy. First off was that Mad World you saw me pick up for the Wii. This was $20. You can see there is how much it is. And this one is complete. And when I looked at this game, I was like, I don't have this in my collection for sure. So I definitely want to grab it for $20. Just looking at the case and kind of the artwork and looking up this game, this is definitely something I will definitely enjoy. So I grabbed this for $20, and then I continued on to where I ended up finding Final Fantasy IX. Oh wait, that's Final Fantasy IV. Forgive me, my numbers are bad when it comes to Roman numerals sometimes. Final Fantasy IV for the DS. I don't know too much about this because it's a DS version, but for $30, it is complete, which is absolutely awesome. That's how much it's currently worth, but finding this was cool. I'm always looking for new DS games that I don't have in my collection down there. So when I saw this for $30, I was like, okay, I'm going to get that. But then right next to it was this super weird game that I pretty much knew nothing about, and I looked into it and I was like, oh, this looks absolutely awesome. And that is a game called Moon, which I paid up for, and it was $67, but it was definitely well worth it. That's how much it's currently going for. But as you could tell, if I could pop this thing open, I don't know why it's so sealed. You can see, it's complete. This thing looks incredible. I was looking this up while I was there in the store, and honestly, it looks like a game that I'll definitely enjoy. It's weird, it's wacky, kind of right up my alley, and again, a DS game that I don't already have. You know, if I have the money for it and the budget for the month, I'm gonna pick something like that up. And then it just got better and better. I picked up a GameCube game, again, that I don't have in my collection, and that is Shadow the Hedgehog. Now, I've heard a little bit about this game, but honestly, I don't know too much. But if I remember correctly, a lot of people tend to like this game. If I'm wrong, comment down below and let me know. But I looked this up. $69 was a nice price for this, so I ended up grabbing it again, complete in the box, which is great. That's currently how much it's going for, so I ended up grabbing this, which kind of shocked me, but the craziest thing ended up being this Metroid Prime trilogy for the Wii. This is the Steelbook. They wanted $100 for it. This thing is absolutely crazy. Anytime a Steelbook has a sleeve like this and looks so awesome, you know I'm actually going to love it. I've seen this thing out and about, but I've never picked it up. It is complete. Everything is here, which is totally awesome. This kind of blows my mind. I'm definitely going to have to break this out and play it. I haven't played the Metroid Prime in a long time, but I have played Metroid Prime 4, the demo. It's a ton of fun, and I cannot wait till that comes out on the Switch too. So when I saw this, I was like, okay, I'm gonna grab that as well because it was in the budget, thankfully, because I had it. So this place ended up being absolutely crazy. I was not expecting to find all of these games here at a used bookstore, but I've been to Nichols before. I absolutely love this. So if you're in the area, you gotta check them out. Their prices are really good on video games and books if you're into that. I go for the games. My wife goes for the books. It's a great place to stop and shop if you're in the area. You gotta check it out. But I love to support places like this in my area. So when I saw all this awesome stuff, I knew I had to grab it. I'm pretty sure the only game I actually already have in my collection was The Last of Us Remastered. So every one of these games is going into the collection and my backlog of games to play because these were pretty wild and awesome. So I'm definitely glad I stopped at Nichols Used Books because it definitely was awesome. So I have got to get out of here. I want to kind of try some of these games out, especially Mad World and Moon. Those are the two that are hopping or jumping out at me right now. So I got to get out of here. So check that video out if you haven't already. But honestly, this turned out to be a really good stop. Now, yes, I spent some money, and thankfully I had it from making videos, but this was definitely well worth it to me, so I figured I'd pick some of these up and support the local store. So if you're in the area, again, check them out. But enough about that. I got to get out of here, so check that video out if you haven't already.